Hello everybody, we are back with another video. This time, well, we did Harry Potter last time, and now we're doing Tolkien, Lord of the Rings. In preparation for the Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, the anime Lord of the Rings movie that's coming out this year. It's funny, it's 10 years since the last Hobbit movie, so I hope I think this continues right? This continues a
Right.
trend of like future Lord of the Rings movies, like because there's Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum 2 years from now. So yeah,
Is that a movie also? Not the weird looking game?
oh, the Harwell, the Gollum game. But yeah,
yeah.
for those who are new here, we have a guest, Sia. She was in our Pride and Prejudice video, and now she's back for The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies. But yeah, to our guests, since John and I have already done the other Hobbit movies and we've said our
We
feelings on that, we did. What do you mean? Do you not know our own videos?
Dang.
Yeah, go on.
But yeah, to our guests, what was your introduction to The Hobbit in general?
The movies, yeah, like, cause they came out maybe when I was in my early teens, and kind of like Pride and Prejudice. I've had like many Hobbit stages, like stages in my life where I like The Hobbit a lot. And like, fun fact, The Hobbit is like what got me like seriously into fandom culture. So it has a special place in my heart. So I'm a little biased. I'm a little biased.
I don't know bias. Uh,
That's true.
but yeah, do you guys remember the hype surrounding this movie 10 years ago?
Yeah. Yes, sir. I do remember, like, when the first two came out. Well, the first one, the hype wasn't that, well received.
Yeah.
Unless you were, like, full on Lord of the Rings fan, but nobody else kind of knew. Until, Desolation of Smog came out and, like, Ed Sheeran made the song about it, and people, not because of Ed Sheeran alone,
Yeah.
people started kind of like, hey, this is kind of good. And I remember when the Battle of Five Armies came out, it was just a line outside of like SM Cinema.
Yeah.
I'm just like, shit, I guess I ain't watching it right now.
Right. I think it was also a perfect storm because at the same time, like for fantasy or sci-fi fans, like we had The Hobbit, and then the next year we had The Force Awakens. So we were like, wow, we're eating well for a while. Even though The Force Awakens turned out to be the only good entry in that trilogy for me, at least. That's my
I agree.
opinion.
No,
on
no,
that.
I agree. I agree.
I agree.
Okay, we're all in the same opinion. But yeah, but of course, if you like the rest to the audience watching, you like what you like. But yeah, I remember the hype too. Like everybody in my high school was pretty excited about it. Like we were counting down the days, and like I watching it the first time, I have to admit, like there's a thing called phantom menacing where you're like, it's not that bad, or it's better than I expected. But you think about some of the things and you're just like, that
I
could
was
have
like,
been better.
That could have been better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
There were moments where, like, sure, at the start, it had a really solid start where they pretty much like put us where we left off from the last movie.
Yeah.
And it's the Bowman. You did like a whole dub of it. Check that out.
Now that is a pity.
Yeah.
And they just have this one solid fight scene. And say what you will, oh yeah, it died from one arrow, kind of underwhelming. Not really. It took a lot. That
Yeah.
shit was intense.
Yeah.
Like the entire scene in of itself was so intense, and a lot of people did.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, it's going off to a good start. I kind of like it, and then it kind of just like, okay, it's just Thorin kind of going mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the second act of this movie, or like the latter end of the first act, and like most of the second act is just preparation of the five armies, and you're just like, oh, okay, we hear Thorin is going mad. People are assembling their armies. There's just a lot of setup. There is one cool scene with Saruman and Elrond, like fighting
Yeah.
the Nazgul, trying to save Gandalf with
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett, and I was like, oh, cool. It's nice seeing old people fight, even though it's obviously their stunt doubles.
Yeah, you see like Gandalf like move like a quarterback. I'm like, like that. Sir Ian McKellen hitting the gym. All right.
Right? Christopher Lee too. You're like, damn.
Yeah, Christopher Lee. I was like,
Yeah.
he must be ancient by that time, and I was like, oh dang, he's moving better than I do.
Like my knee kind of gives out when I like move that fast.
Right? Like it's all good setup for like the next trilogy, and you're like, oh, I guess we'll see him when he's gone full Saruman. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for me at least, this movie drags because it's just Thorin like being like, where's the Arkenstone? I need it. It's my family crown jewel, and the rest of the dwarves being like, can we calm down? It's just one gem, please.
Yeah.
Do you see it? Speaking of dwarves, did you like the setup between Keely and Taria?
I'm like okay with it. Like I don't think it's like, it's unexpected, of course, as someone who's like a little familiar with the books. I was like, I mean, like dwarves and elves in the Tolkien verse, like inter-race relationships, not that often, not that prevalent. So I was a little surprised, but it was like okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also agree. Like it worked when they're together. I'm like, cool. I want to see more of it. Then they kind of just cut it right there. Legolas just comes in. He's like, nah, kind of weird. I'm like, yo, bro, like fuck off.
Yeah. He just wants like Tariel to himself, but in your mind you're like, that can't be, because you're lonely for most of the other trilogy. I mean, you have Gimli, but like aside from him, you have no one else. So it
You
can't.
just got the boys.
Yeah, exactly. You got Aragorn and Gimli. Can have no one else. And like, it's just like the amount of time they use setting up like everything. You're just like, I wish this could have been filled with other better stuff. Like, I don't remember any of the Lord of the Rings movies having this much like filler. Like, sure, they walk a lot, but like, it's at least there's something like happening. Like here, it feels just like, oh, we're setting up for the next trilogy instead of focusing on our own movie.
Yeah, and with what like C said about like the whole like book accuracy, I do remember that the part with Gandalf isn't part of it. It's like a completely different book.
Yeah.
It was called like Silmarillion.
Oh, the Silmarillion or
Silmarillion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say the payoff is good. At least, like, it's cool seeing all these armies clash together for what is the last act of this movie. Like, it's nice seeing the orcs and the dwarves and the elves fight, and you're like, oh, this is the battle of the Five Armies. What are the Five Armies again?
I thought
it's
elves,
the elves of
dwarves,
elves, dwarves,
orcs,
and
men.
There's 2 orc armies technically.
Okay, so that's okay.
Yeah.
It's from Dogoldur and the other one, Gundabad.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, I kind of lost it. I was just like, I was like,
that's okay.
get to the fight.
Yeah. I'm like, Five Armies. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, but not gonna
We don't even really see the second one because they get decimated by the eagles and Radagast. And,
yeah.
yeah. They come and they're like, oh fuck, the eagles.
Like never got the chance, but you know what? Their names in this, the
They're
title.
part of the Five Armies.
Yeah, they were mentioned.
Do you think it was too easy how Thorin got over his sickness?
Yes.
I found it weird that they devoted like a lot more time to portraying him with the gold sickness, the dragon sickness, than him like getting out of it, because you just basically have that one scene of him like falling through the floor, right? And then after that he's like, yeah, we're fighting, and I'm like, wait, can we just see a little more inner struggle, just so that it feels earned, because it felt a little unearned. Really, not even a little, just unearned.
I agree. I do agree, because he, like, at one point, I don't know what it was. I think I went to the bathroom for a bit, but he was kind of like he's kind of going mad. Where's the stone? And then like once I come back, it's like, you know what? We all got to band together.
Yeah.
We all gotta be homies. I'm just like, that was oddly too quick.
Yeah, way too quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Sia. It just felt a little unearned or very unearned. Like with all that time with him going crazy, they never really gave us what's going into the mind of Thorin.
Yeah.
Or like if they weren't gonna give us that, they could have given us like the inner politics of like what the elves were going through, why they want to take over. Give us a little bit more like chunk to why they want to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, gold.
Yeah.
All the jewels
I
for the elves.
I feel bad
Yeah.
for Bilbo having to sneak out, like with the Arkenstone, and then sneak back in to be like, it was me, I stole it. I'm like, what's the point of what? Like you went through
Yeah.
all that trouble just to go back and be like, I might die this moment, but fuck it, I'm being honest.
You could have just stayed with Gandalf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was his like last ditch effort though to break Thorin of his madness.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I mean, it does partially like build up to the gold floor sinking scene. Like it helps. Like it's just one brick to Thorin like snapping out of it.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, it was just like an afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like one, what do you call it? Like intervention session.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was like, damn it.
It's like how people complain like Anakin's turn was too quick in the Star Wars prequels. You're like,
Okay.
yeah, that makes sense.
Mm.
Yeah. But like this is one of the last examples of really good CGI as well. Like that's the other pro I have for this movie, because you see like the orc armies and like of course you see Smaug. And you're like, wow, CGI was never the same after some point in the 2010s.
I agree.
Yeah.
We just completely dipped, but now that you mention it, like once the armies clash and like the elves are just like, hey, like where's your army? Surrender now. And then like the dwarf army comes in. I'm like, that guy, that's kind of cool. He comes in a pig. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, just that scene of like the dwarves going into the phalanx maneuver when the orcs come, and then they're about to clash, and then the elves jump over the dwarves. I was like, oh shit, that hits hard.
Yeah.
You know?
It just Gimli and like Legolas like boosted up to 1,000. I'm like, yes,
Yeah.
I need more of that.
But, like as much complaint we had about Thorin earlier, like it is sick to see him rally with his men, and you're like, yeah,
when
this is pretty
he
sick.
busted through.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah. It also is satisfying to see the arcs of Thorin and what's his name? Azrog? Like the Defiler. Azog. Sorry, my bad. Come
Oh
to
yeah,
end.
the one-handed like what?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is satisfying to see their story come to a close. Like it is a pretty satisfying last fight.
Yeah.
Bittersweet, but like it is pretty cool to see.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like that's something out of that was not in the books that they put in that like really did pay off like throughout the movies, because Azog isn't really mentioned in the original books that much.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like Thorin dying.
No, he
oh,
really
okay.
dies.
The Oak and Shield lineage ends right there.
Just the Azog versus Thorin.
Yeah. Though
Got you.
like it doesn't help that it's hand in hand with like Legolas's fight with his right hand, where he's just like floating
His
in
son.
midair. Yeah, his son.
I love that shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was good. The,
Yeah.
the Fallen Tower bridge fight was like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And they just had to wrap it up with a bow with like a with a boulder just crushing him. I'm
Yeah,
like,
Right?
yeah,
like-
that was good. That was satisfying.
Yeah. But like though it was a bit noticeable, this green screen when like Legolas was like climbing up on the rocks when it was falling apart. And I'm like, that is sure, I didn't know elves can do that, but why not?
Yeah.
It
I'll
also,
give him that. I'll give him that because for sure multiple like PCs blew up rendering that scene.
yeah.
sure.
It also is pretty much one-sided, because like the sun barely gets a hit in, and you're like, all right, Legolas survives to the next trilogy, so I guess he doesn't have to struggle in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we never wonder. It's like, will he make it? Chewbacca? Sorry.
He legit has the plot armor.
Yeah.
Like, he'll be in the future movie.
Fine.
Yeah. Unlike poor Keely who gets stabbed through the heart, you're like, oh shit,
I
poor
mean-
guy.
Even Feely's death is quite tragic. Him just getting captured by Azog and then getting stabbed and dropped, and Keely seeing his body. It's-
Yeah, right in front
Yeah.
of him. You're like, oh, that's rough.
I know, right? I was like, damn.
Yeah,
Yeah, like it is a little like jarring when you see like the lineage die like that. I'm just like, I don't think we've seen that kind of
Wipeout.
wipeout in the like Lord of the Rings lore.
Mm.
Like usually that's kind of instant, but here I'm just like, he kind of savoring that shit. Okay.
yeah. And like, I always just remembered one annoying character that my dog
Al-
finds, which is Alfred.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my god, that weasel little. I hate him.
yeah. I was like, you were like, almost, not almost, but like you were like the Jar Jar Binks of this entry of The Hobbit. So I'm like, wow, you are really annoying, dude.
You got. I just love that one scene where like somebody like puts like a pile of sticks on him, and he puts it on like an old lady and just screams at her and like pull your weight.
Pull your weight,
It's
and you're like, Jesus
it's like-
Christ.
God.
I just found that so fucking funny. I just love how mean he was, but at the same time I'm like, what's the name of the bowman again?
Bard.
Bard.
Bard. I was like, my dude, clearly this man should not be trusted. Why is he
Right.
by your
Right.
side?
You let him take your kids, like, sir.
Yeah,
Like that one point where like, think of the children, and he grabs one of his kids. At that point, I expected him to like sock him in the face at least,
yeah,
Yeah,
and then let the townsfolk just go at him.
yeah.
yeah.
Especially at the end, I'm like, no, nothing. All right, I guess Bard. Yeah.
Yeah, where you just let him go with the
Yeah.
corset full of coin, and I'm like, really? Nothing? He's not gonna, like, eat it? You know,
Yeah,
a bolt will come down and, like, crush him? Like,
yeah,
Like an eagle just like sweeps him up. I'm like, you know what, that would be nice.
yeah. But like, it is like going back to Thor and like dying. It is bittersweet that like that's how his friendship with Bilbo ends. Like he's like, I wish to part ways with you in friendship, and I'm like, ah, man.
Ooh. I watched it with, like, my two other friends, and even though we all hadn't watched the first two films in a long time, we were crying in that scene because it was really hard emotionally.
It was too real. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bilbo kind of like just like, hey, look, the eagles are like, they're here, the help's here.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
begging, like, stay, don't go. The eagles are here. I was like, oh my god.
yeah.
And I was just like, oh my god, and what's the name of the actor for Bilbo again?
Martin Freeman.
Yeah,
Martin Freeman did an amazing job just crying, and I was just like, god damn, I fucking felt that. I was
yeah.
like, okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Also, that line when like Tariel was with Keely and she's like, "Why does it hurt so much?" And the dad is like, "Because it's real."
Yeah,
I'm like,
and
Jesus
Randall,
Christ.
Like, it
Yeah.
circles back to, like, oh, what you feel for him isn't real, and then he finally acknowledges when he's dead, when Keely's dead, like, oh no, it was real. And I'm like, don't say that now!
Right.
You just said it!
They could have guessed.
Yeah, exactly. Also, he tries to make amends with Legolas, and like normally I don't
It's so, yeah.
like forced in like, hey, remember this character from the previous trilogy? But like here, I'm like, fine, I'll accept it. Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we all know who he's talking about, so it's not like
Yeah.
too forced that you're like rolling your eyes, but like at the same time, you're like, all right, Peter Jackson, you can have that moment. Why not?
Yeah. And like, not gonna lie, I found this scene a little bit odd because clearly Bilbo's mourning, and kind of just like the battle's done, like they've won. But kind of just like sits beside him and starts cleaning his pipe. I'm like, you really can't do this somewhere else,
Right.
bruh.
Like, can you not read the room, dude? Please. And like in front of them are the other dwarves like also crying, and you just like,
Yeah,
Kind of
the
like-
dwarves, like, on the
Like-
ice dealing to Thorin's body.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you just see Gandalf like kind of light his cigar, and you're like, can you go away, sir? It's not the moment.
No, but of course, it kind of just led to like them having a realization, like, hey, we made it, but we did lose some people.
Yeah.
It was a nice kind of just it was there was no dialogue in that moment. They just looked at each other
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they just like, hey, we're at the end of our journey.
yeah.
And I was like, it was really nice.
Like one of the best things about watching this trilogy is watching Bilbo's arc go from like the scared hobbit to like this guy who is very confident about himself. Like I've faced down death multiple times. Like there's no reason why I should be scared of doing anything now, especially with the help of the One Ring, where he's like, and I got a nice souvenir out of it. So this journey was pretty sweet, I guess. Yeah. Then they say Bilbo lived past normal Hobbit years because of the ring.
Yeah. He
Yeah.
lived like 60 years more. Because he was like about like 50 something during The Hobbit.
Hmm.
But he lived to like 110 or 11.
God damn.
Yeah.
It looked great that time too.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it was kind of nice to see too. Like him just going back. Also, I had to do the math. I was like, 30 months. How long was that then?
Right?
I was like, man, almost fucking 2 years. I'm like, God, it
Damn.
didn't feel like it. You know, like like when if you watch movies like in a row, it doesn't feel like it. But at the same time, I'm just like, understandable with the amount of walking you had to do.
Yeah. Same with the original trilogy, where I'm like, how long did this take?
How long did it take again in the original?
I forgot. I thought someone here would
Don't
have an
remember
answer.
either.
Don't bring it up then.
Like from the Shire to Mordor?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Although, I don't know. That's really far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a hike. Let's say.
Yeah.
Though I think Erebor is a little farther.
Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. Like it does end with the beginning of the Fellowship, and I'm like, that's a nice
Yeah.
bow to tie everything with.
Yeah.
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 And not gonna lie, I know like I've seen this before, but like when I heard like the credits song, I was like, not gonna lie, I'm a little bit sad.
Yeah.
You're right, the music, the scoring,
Yeah.
Howard Shore is so brilliant. With the
Yeah.
scoring.
Like, I agree with the credits. I'm just like, oh, I guess this is the end of the Lord of the Rings saga for now. But like, just remembering that there's more stuff coming up with like Rings of Power season 3 and like the anime and like the future movies. I'm like, I guess we'll be fine for the next few years. I hope it all turns out well.
Yeah. I just want them to expand on like Middle Earth in of itself. I'm just like, I don't need like Bilbo's granddaughter who turns out to be evil or something like that. Like I don't need that.
Yeah.
Just give us different characters, expand the universe. I want to learn more of different like regions. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah. But do you guys have anything else to add to this review before we wrap it up?
Me so far.
I'd say this. I hope it continues the trend of really good mocap acting. Like we had Benedict Cumberbatch and
Oh,
Manu Bennett, and like I feel like this helped propel the art of mocap acting because we also had the Planet of the Apes trilogy at the same time. So I hope we get to see more motion capture acting because I feel like it's underappreciated. And like I'm surprised nobody from this trilogy or the previous trilogy has ever won an award for mocap acting.
Really, Andy Serkis didn't win an award for Gollum's performance?
Never.
God damn,
that's
that
so
sounds unfair.
sad. Yeah.
I mean, it's also because I think the Academy is biased towards like fantasy.
True.
Yeah. But yeah, what would you guys rate the Battle of the Five Armies?
See, you go first. I'm kind of sure on this one. 'Cause, I feel like I don't want to break your heart if if my score's a little still.
Like, it's like a solid 8. Like, I enjoyed it, and there were like really good, hard, like hitting emotional moments, and it like wrapped up the series, the trilogy well. So, for me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a little step down. That one. I'm gonna go with the 7. I still prefer the first 2 more than the last one. But I will say that, again, we did mention that like the fight scenes were great. Once the battle started, like I was at the edge of my seat, and we did kind of get we got a pretty good like bittersweet ending, but it was just we did complain about like Thorin
yeah.
not really like his storyline here at the second arc was just a little too messy. We got a good start, we got a meh like middle part, and then we got a good finish.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I feel like that kind of deducts a lot from it because again, it was just as you said, Enzo, it kind of felt like filler. When we could have been focused on something else, or the movie could have been cut a little shorter if that was the case. But other than that, I'd say like it's a pretty good setup. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give it a fair score of 7 as well. Like I do like the beginning and end. Like it's just the middle part that drags it down for me. But the same as always, the characters are great. The CGI is pretty fantastic, and like it's pretty cool to see this CGI still hold up years later. As I said, 10 years later. So, and knowing that the effects hold up for a long time is great. With the same with the last trilogy. But I do like the fact that it ends in a bittersweet way, kind of like Return of the King, even though those are two different scenarios. Where Return of the King had the bye bye Frodo, where here we're just like, oh, I guess it's the end.
He technically died. They went to like fantasy heaven on a boat.
The Undying Lands. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was heaven, but yeah, but it is a good conclusion. I say this wraps up the entire saga pretty well, in my opinion. Like, if you wanna have like, how many hours would that be? Like, almost
18.
More than a day to yourself. You can watch this saga from The Hobbit to Return of the King. But yeah, to the audience watching, what's your favorite entry into the Middle Earth story? Whether it's, of course, the books, the movies, the TV shows, even the games. Maybe one day, John and I can cover Shadow of Mordor, if ever I replay that game.
Lend me your game, please.
There's also a really cute like Shire sim. Like, sim coming out. Yeah,
I heard about that one too. I'm like, shit, I kind of want to play that too.
Is it like
I want to play it so bad.
Yeah.
Is it like The Sims but with hobbits?
Is it more like Valheim, but chiller?
Oh.
If I remember. See, if you could correct us on that one.
Okay.
I've never played Valheim, so I'm not sure.
Oh, it's like you're just like gathering stuff. You're like cutting wood and stuff, and like...
Yeah, it's more maybe like Stardew because there's that social element also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. More of like Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, whatever it is, please comment down below. If you like what you see here, please leave a like, subscribe, and ding the bell icon to get notified of when we upload next. We're also on Spotify and TikTok to see our best and funniest moments, Spotify to hear us on the go. In the video, I'm Zoda's Voices on TikTok and Answolf on Letterboxd. Where can they find you guys?
Go ahead, see.
I'm just around on social media. If I see you, I see you.
Yeah, gotcha.
Jump.
You can find me at jomjulia_ on Instagram. It is my account.
And until the next one, we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.
Ciao.
Bye.